Hi, welcome to my backyard. I'm thinking about summer. It's almost time for those barbecues and cookouts, and I'm ready to do some decorating. And I think that the best way to decorate the outside of my house for summer this year will be with the red, white, and blue. Also, I'm so happy that you're here because all of the proceeds from this video are being donated to the Fisher House. The Fisher House is kind of like a Ronald McDonald house for military families, and Theresa B DIY can tell you all about that, and I will leave a link in my description box below. For right now, let's get to the DIYs. In this DIY, I'm using 2 of the MDF signs from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove those rectangle parts that say compass. And I'll be covering those signs with this placemat that I got on clearance at Target, and I don't remember the price that I paid. It was less than $2 for this piece that reminds me of denim. So if you go to Goodwill and you can find some good denim, I think that would work well too. Next, I'm going to make a wreath out of this piece of garland that came from Hobby Lobby, and it's just some that I had left over. And then I'm going to finish it off with some American flags. So first you'll need to remove the hangers from both of the signs and remove the rectangle pieces that say compass if these are the signs that you're using. Of course, Dollar Tree has all kinds of different signs. Some have embellishments on them and some don't. But if yours does have something to embellish it, then you need to remove that so that your signs are completely flat. If you are working with these exact signs, that compass part came off kind of in layers. And so I used the scraper from the Dollar Tree and it easily peeled it up. Now I'm going to attach them together using this heavy duty duct tape that I got at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to put the tape along the seam, front and back, and then I'm going to make another piece cross over the center to make it extra sturdy. Now, even though it's going to be really sturdy, I still wouldn't recommend using this kind of sign to put anywhere other than like a covered porch. You don't want it to be exposed to too much weather because it is just Dollar Tree MDF board. Next, I will attach the placemat to the sign, and I'll be using regular hot glue to do that. And like I said earlier, if you're not able to find this particular placemat, because I realized it was on clearance at Target and you may not be able to find it now, but I think it's just the idea of having something denim that is making me like this idea. So I believe if you could find some old pair of pants or an old denim shirt from Goodwill, you could duplicate this sign. I just ran hot glue all around the edges of the sign and pulled the placemat tight to stick it all down. Once the placemat was stuck securely, then I flipped it over and cut off the excess around the edges with my utility knife and a cutting board underneath. Next up is making the wreath, and I have this small wreath form that come from the Dollar Tree, and I wanted to just use one of the round pieces, so I used my wire cutters to pry it apart. It took a little bit of oomph to get it to come apart, but it wasn't too awful difficult. Then I began wrapping the garland around the wire circle, and I used my floral wire to tie it down in places to make it secure. To attach the wreath to the sign, I'm going to use jute string. I'm going to loop it around the wreath, and I'm going to tie a bow, and then the bow will be hot glued to the sign. Now, using the flags to decorate the wreath could be done a whole lot of different ways, and I played around with these flags a jillion different ways before I decided just to cross them in the center, but you do whatever makes you happy. And I just used regular hot glue to glue them down to the wreath. And while I'm hot gluing those down, let me tell you, Theresa B DIY is donating all of her ad revenue from all of her videos for the whole month of May to the Fisher House. And so how you can help is to watch her videos and let the ads play. I know it's not the most fun thing to watch the advertisements, but it's really going for a great cause, and it would make Theresa so happy. Now I'm going to make a hanger for the sign using jute string and an extra large popsicle stick cut in two. And for extra security, I decided to hot glue the wreath to the sign in a few places. And the last thing is to frame it out to make it all complete. And you could definitely use paint star sticks, but I had these garden stakes that I got from the Dollar General store. They were only $1 a piece. So I measured out how long I needed my pieces to be and took them down to the shed and cut them. Actually, correction, my husband cut them. I haven't gotten the nerve to use power tools yet. Now the next thing is to paint them all with one coat of the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white. And to attach the wooden stakes, I used the Gorilla Glue hot glue sticks. I'm really impressed in how well these are working. And here she is hanging out on my back deck. So this video is part of a playlist that's hosted by Theresa B DIY and her co-host Sammy Veltri over at Unicorn Dust Designs. The links for their channels and their videos will be in my description box down below. Be sure to go check them out. And here is a little information about Fisher House, which is the charity that Theresa B is donating all of her ad revenue to for the month of May.
Fisher houses are comfort homes near military and VA hospitals where families stay free of charge while their loved one receives medical care.
Staying at a hotel is not the same thing as staying at the Fisher House.
Just having that assurance that no matter what, as long as we were there for Anson, that someone would be there to take care of us. It took so much weight off our shoulders.
Military and veteran families need Fisher houses now more than ever. Give today at fisherhouse.org.
The Fisher House is a great way to support our military and veterans. Now back to the DIYs. These 3 jars I got from the Dollar Tree, and the colors are definitely red, white, and blue, but they were a little bright, so I wanted to frost these glass jars, which I really wanted to frost the red and blue, but I had another idea for the clear one, which I'll show you. It didn't quite pan out, but you know, we always make things work. This glass frosting was really easy to work with. It didn't take long to dry. However, please use it in a well-ventilated area. I did it indoors. I should have done it outdoors, but it was kind of showering, a little rain here and there, and so I didn't want to take a chance of ruining my project altogether, so I did it inside in my kitchen, but whew, yeah, it was strong. Now this is a pack of body stencils that I got at the Dollar Tree. I'd never seen them there before, but I thought, why couldn't they be used for stencils for craft projects? So I picked out this free stencil. I cut it out, and this is the thing that I was telling you about that didn't quite work, and it would have, but the product is not the best. This is some glass etching cream that I got at the Dollar Tree, and it had leaked through the cardboard. I couldn't find a package that it didn't look like that, so I kind of had my doubts to start with, but this is what happened. I put the cream on, I let it set for the 15 to 30 minutes that it said, and this is what it looked like when I took the stencil off. And then you're supposed to rinse it. And when I rinsed it, yeah, it didn't do any better. So I wasn't really pleased with that look. So next idea, we're just going to paint this jar with some Rust-Oleum white chalk paint. And this is what it looked like after 2 coats. The jars that I had frosted were dry, and then I wanted to decorate them using these star stencils that was out of that body stencil pack. And since there was 2 sets, I thought that was perfect. So I cut each of them out, and I'm going to use white acrylic apple barrel craft paint to stencil them on. When I peeled the stencil off, I saw that some of the paint did go underneath, but really not too bad all in all. And the biggest white star, you can see there is still part of the stencil on that, so I had to wait for that star to dry before I could peel that up. Then I did the same thing to the blue jar. I used one of my Cricut weeding tools to try to get that little star out of the center, and that was no easy feat. And when I did finally get it to peel off, yeah, it just didn't look right. Some of the paint had went underneath of it, and it peeled off some of the rest. So yeah, I wasn't going for that. So I just went ahead and filled in that entire large star with some more white craft paint. I decided to use these jars as candle holders, and so I put one votive candle in each jar, lit them up, and I can't wait to sit outside with them this evening. This DIY is really simple. Here is another placemat that I bought on clearance at Target, but you could use any material that you like. I chose this because it already had the white and blue, and I'm using this fabric paint that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I got it in red, and all I did was I wrote friends, family, freedom on the bottom of the placemat, and I'm going to use it outdoors as an outside placemat. My evaluation of the Dollar Tree fabric paint so far is really good. It works just as well as any I've ever wrote with before, and it seems to be holding up just fine so far. And the last DIY today is another very simple one. This is a pretty little floral arrangement that I got at the Dollar General store for $2. Its jute string was a little wonky, so the first thing I wanted to do was untie it and fix that back up right and hot glue it in place. Then its tails was a little too long, so I cut those off. And I'm using this glass bowl that I got from the Dollar Tree and these white pebbles that I also got at the Dollar Tree. And all I'm going to do is pour these pebbles into the bowl and set the floral arrangement down inside. Now anybody can do that DIY, and it's so cute. Thank you for checking out this video today. Please don't forget to go see Theresa B DIY and Sammy Veltri at Unicorn Dust Designs, and I will see you next time. Bye!